Yes, please start.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. We are starting the second section of the fragments today. And let's start with our universal prayer. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom. O hidden light, shining in every creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May each who feels himself as one with thee know he is also one with every other. I invite Professor Shinde to start the second fragment today.
Good evening. Me to continue the study of Voice of the Silence. Of course, the Voice of the Silence is titled only to the fragment 1, and that we have finished. And still we get inspired. Why not we continue the study, even to take the second fragment and go on studying? It is because that leads, the first fragment that leads from 3 halls: hall of ignorance, hall of learning, hall of wisdom, that we studied, that dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. These are the halls. Dharana is where we are, hall of ignorance, we are doing puja, mantra, archa, all those are definitely helpful because it is all needed in the hall of ignorance. But in the hall of learning, then we must learn to think rightly. And when we learn to think rightly, then the thoughts become less and less and become focused, and we reach to the point that is called, as Krishnamurti used the word, ending of thought. So from savichara to nirvichara, from learning wisdom to from the learning hall or hall of learning to the hall of wisdom, there is a great quantum jump, and that happens not by efforts, but automatically we reach to that samadhi state. So we need to listen very carefully what Voice of the Silence instructs us. So unless we are serious listeners, we can't comprehend the meaning that it wants to tell. There are again and again I tell, because you can go through the book by commentary on the Voice of the Silence. The book titled Talks on the Path of Occultism, Volume 2. It is a classic book which you must read. What Annie Besant and C.W. Leadbitter commented on the Voice of the Silence. Then you can read the book Inner to Outer Transformation. These are the lectures by Joy Mills, our previous vice president, when N. Sri Ram was the president. N. Sri Ram also gave the talks at the School of Wisdom, Adyar, in 1998. And the book is released as The Way of Wisdom. You can refer to that book also. Even sometimes you read Rohit Mehta's Creative Silence. Rohit Mehta was a renowned lecturer, and he has given very good lectures, and that may help you, because that helps us analysis of 3 fragments dealing with preparation, discovery, treading the path. So then one more book of Rohit Mehta also helps us, The Fullness of the Void. Why I am giving this? Because we are entering, finished the Voice of the Silence fragment first. And some of the points as a study class, we must always remember who is the great slayer? Mind is the great slayer of the real. Who is the great master? Our higher self is the great master. What is the great law? Great law is becoming knower of all self. What is the great heresy? As per HPB's perception, the great heresy is separation of soul. And even it speaks about the great bird, that bird of life upon which we must ride and take a flight. But there are hindrances, tempters, and the king of the tempter is the Mara. So last time I gave some questions to ponder over. What role does Mara play in our daily lives? What is the meaning of golden tree and its jewel buds? So Mara are the temptations, and golden tree symbolizes the enlightened one, and the jewels of buds are the potential centers. And it is said all this enlightenment should take place before this Manvantara ends. Otherwise, Pralaya will come, and again we will be kept in a different place. So our responsibility, we must take it and work seriously. For that purpose, Voice of the Silence says you have to attain the child state. Means let your mind be an innocent mind. Because we have lost innocent as we grow. And therefore, this term is used, child state need to be regained. There has to be balanced interplay of activity, and contemplation is always necessary. And it is not that we are paralyzing the personality. In future, it will be used, paralyze the personality. But we are asked to ponder over how is the lower self necessary in helping us to attain enlightenment. And we must be very clear about the three halls through which soul's journey is. So with this reminding, it is a gentle reminding for you all. I'm not going to teach anything, but just putting before you all these facts so that we can be serious about what we are doing. Then now, today we will start the second path, second fragment, which is titled as two paths. So when it says paths, why it is titled as two paths? When we are entered into the samadhi state, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi, the very interesting point to be noted is, even in the Yoga Sutra, the Voice of the Silence is nothing but the yoga that is explained. Even in Aikyatamini's Yoga Sutra, the first chapter is Samadhi Pad. So one has to read the Samadhi Pad, but we are advised, serious students of theosophy are advised to study the sadhana path. So sadhana path, where right efforts are needed. And I think the Voice of the Silence fragment 2 is more concerned with the practice. So once you have understood, once you have become or gained the master degree, after graduation, you have become the postgraduate, and now you have to tread the path. So when you are ready to tread the path, then you become jumbled, whether which path need to be selected. So here comes the choices, and today we are read 25 verses I am telling you reading. Yes, we are reading, and together we are trying to understand. Because in the part first, it is very clearly mentioned, especially the 16th verse in the part first. When waxing stronger, the soul glides forth from her secure retreat. So, our waxing has become stronger. We are more involved in our personality. And therefore, when waxing stronger, thy soul glides forth from her secure retreat, breaking loose from the protecting shrine. Well, when we are born, our soul was well protected. But when we grow, waxing becomes stronger and stronger. And soul begin to crawl, begin to glide, begin to extend its silver cord, and going away from its protecting shrine, extending her silver thread and rushes onwards. This is what the 16th verse of the part first we studied. Because we are moving forward and we are holding our I-ness, our ego. Behold her image on the wave of space, and then we whisper, "This is I," and declare, "O disciple, that thy soul is caught in the web of delusion." That is what the first fragment, again I repeat, because to listen to the voice of the silence, it needs to understand mind is the slayer of the real, and it must pass through 3 halls. It must climb the ladder and reach to the 4 stages, to the 5th stage, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. And then this road to spirituality, when we are thinking of the 2 paths, this is the, as I said, sadhana path. So road to spirituality is actually one road. But that road gets branched. And we see 2 branches or 2 paths. Right. One is the path of liberation, and second is the path of renunciation. Even if you are liberated, you are free to renunciate the further bliss and come back to serve the humanity. So there are 2 paths, path of liberation and path of renunciation. Here arises the question of choice to pursue the unmanifest. Which path need to be selected? And this, our choice determines our nature, what we truly are. But a serious aspirant who has passed through 3 halls, 4 stages to reach the 5th dharana, dhyana, and samadhi, means he has already become the master now, but he still needs to ask his guru. And then we read this fragment number 1 to 3, what it wants to convey here. I will read with you. And now, O teacher of compassion, point thou the way to other men. Behold, all those who knocking for admission await in ignorance and darkness to see the gate of the sweet law flung open. Here the question is asked to the teacher, point me a way which helps me to help others, because they are waiting in ignorance and darkness, and they are very eager to see the gate of the sweet law need to be opened. Then in 102, the voice of the candidate means you knock and the door will be opened, it is said, and he has knocked he has asked the question, and knocking means the voice is heard. Then the master again asked, shall not thou, master of thine own mercy, you are the master of the own mercy, shall not thou, master of thine own mercy, reveal the doctrine of the heart? You cannot understand the doctrine of the heart. Shall thou refuse to lead thy servants unto the path of liberation? Are you refusing to help them? Then the master says, oh, the teacher. Teacher means he says, one who has become the summit, when he has become to the samadhi state, he has become the master, he is the teacher. Then the teacher says, the paths are two. Here it comes. The paths are two. One is the great perfection of 3. 6 are the virtues that transform the body into the tree of knowledge. So the paths are two. The great perfections of 3. 6 are the virtues that transform the body into the tree of knowledge. Here again we must remember, there are 2 paths, there are 3 perfections, there are 6 virtues need to be cultivated, and that transforms your body into a tree of knowledge. So what are these 3 perfections? 3 perfections, the 2 paths are the heart doctrine and head doctrine or eye doctrine. These are the 2 paths. Then 3 perfections, that is, one has to take 3 refuges and 5 precepts, etc. Last time we did. Then 6 virtues, these are the 6 perfections. Like we have to pass through all those 10 fetters, avidya, aruparaga, ruparaga, ahankara or pride, irritability, then delusion, doubt, superstitions, our sensations, anger, these all are the 10 fetters. And when you pass through these, then that transforms your body into tree of knowledge. This is what 1 to 3 we can comment on this. So this second fragment opens with Guru Shishya conversation, where Shishya will have to make a choice. And the question arises, will he go onward into nirvanic bliss? Is he ready to reach to nirvanic bliss? That is the esoteric. Second is, or will he turn back from the threshold and help humanity? That is the exoteric path. One is the esoteric path, and second is the exoteric path. This is the choice of the 2 paths. So further, shall not thou, master, thine own mercy reveal the doctrine of the heart? Shall thou refuse to lead thy servants unto the path of liberation? So 2 questions are asked. Will you not reveal yourself the doctrine of heart? Are you ready to refuse to lead? But you know, the candidate is not yet ready. He is not yet sure which path he should take. Like in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was confused. In the same manner, here it is, candidate is confused. You know, even in Buddha's story, Lord Buddha, when he sat under the Bodhi tree on the morning after his enlightenment, after the illumination, he himself was confused. He himself was having doubted whether the world would understand the knowledge he wished to impart to them. So he spent some time in that threshold period after enlightenment. But his intuitive voice suddenly heard, the earth is in pain, which is crying for you. So surely you have to go. And he said, I am lost. I and my creatures, O Supreme, let thy great law be uttered. That is what he heard, voice. And then, this is what it is said in The Light of Asia by Sri Edwin Arnold, how Buddha got enlightened and how he went to advise his 5 disciples in Saranath. Then the teacher says, quoth the teacher, the path are 2, the great perfection 3, 6 are the virtues that transform the body into the tree of knowledge. Here again, SPB speaks about 2 paths. Number 1 is the open path taught to layman, that is the exoteric path, that is generally accepted. But the second is the secret path. The nature of this secret path is explained only at the time of initiation. Only the secret heart of things is revealed in the esoteric doctrine, touching on the inner mysteries. So this is a secret path, and first is the open path. Then the tree of knowledge is a little given to those who have attained to the height of mystic knowledge. The tree also represents man, with his roots deep in the mire of earth life, subjecting him to the ravage of time. While these branches stretch heavenward, ever aspiring towards Godhead. Here again, a poetic explanation is there. In Bhagavad Gita also, there is a verse, Urdhva Moolam Adhashakam, one kind of tree whose roots are in the heaven and branches are in the manifested world. So there is a tree in ancient symbolism depicted with the roots in the heaven and its branches stretched down towards the earth. This tree suggests spiritual union. Having passed beyond the need for earthly sustenance, it showers its fruits upon all who need spiritual guidance. At this point, the whole humanity is part of himself. This is how the enlightened one teaches to the student when he is confused which path and what are those 2 paths. So here I have given some one whole, J. Krishnamurti said, one whole. It is not your consciousness or mind consciousness. So human consciousness is the one common field of consciousness. It is one whole. And there are 2 paths. One is the open path, second is the secret path. The open path that goes towards the materiality, secret path is the path of return. This is what Jiddu Krishnamurti said, not this figure, but he said human consciousness is one. If there is change in one's consciousness, that brings change in the whole human consciousness. Next slide also about the confusion. Life has only 2 options. Either it is a AI slide, it says either uninstall or update. Choice is yours. But try to approach, try to act, because it is a call to action, and that action must be now. So we are called to act in this section of 2 parts. Then next, from 104 to 108 verses are again taking us. The again question is asked because he is totally confused. The candidate is confused and he asks, who shall approach them? Who shall first enter them? Who shall first hear the doctrine of 2 parts in 1? The truth unveiled about the secret heart. The law which, shunning learning, teaches wisdom, reveals a tale of woe. Then 107, alas, alas, that all men should possess alaya, be one with the great soul, and that possessing it, alaya should so little avail them. See, the two first question is asked, and then the master says, alas, alas, you are not understanding that all men should possess alaya, be one with the great soul, and that possessing itself, alaya should so little avail them. So you are in that all, over soul, alaya means. Then in 108 it said, behold, how like the moon reflected in the tranquil waves, alaya is reflected by the small and by the great, is mirrored in the tiniest atoms, yet fails to reach the heart of all. Alas, that so few men should profit by the gift, the priceless boon of learning truth, the right perception of existing things, the knowledge of the non-existent. So these are the verses we are considering now. Then the next projection I have given, if a bird, not bird you show, next bird. Yes. If a bird falls in love with the fish, where will they live? This is a question of one who is fallen in love. Where will they live? And if the same question is asked to the Krishnamurti, I know he will reply, find it out. And we will find it out only in the alaya. That means, again, as Master said, come out of your world. So when you have fallen in love means you have already entered into that alaya. Then next one, that alaya, we must understand the other projection Vimalji, the first which you, that already we have studied this, but again and again I am showing here, because how can we become one with the alaya? When we are asked to find out the way, then 8 cognitions, 5 wisdom of the Yogachara school, what it teaches. So the alaya, ground of consciousness, whole it is covered. You can see here the 1 to 5, that is sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. These are the sensations. This is the consciousness of externals. Then when we enter into the ordinary consciousness of relative mind, then we enter consciousness of body or of spirit. That is the Manasa principle. And it becomes thinner and thinner Manasa principle. And when it unites into the Alaya. This is what circle of the Alaya. Fundamental universal consciousness or soul. It is very nearer to you. Only the mind has to become still. That is what it is taught. Then we'll go the commentary on this. I can read for you. The two paths in one, open path is exoteric, that is head learning. Closed path is esoteric, that is heart learning. Path of secret and one who is ready to become the savior of the mankind. That means it is heart doctrine is taught to the initiates. So choice is yours. One, whether to enter the well-earned bliss and free at last from the world's turmoil, or to turn from the threshold to return to help the world. The law which teaches wisdom reveals a story of woe. Woe means oath. It is not an easy law because there is much sacrifice. In fact, complete renunciation of self is necessary in order that man's vehicles be rendered absolutely pure to receive the guiding power of the Supreme. Many times I was thinking of the chess game. Chess game is the game of life, no doubt, but it is the sacrificing game. In chess, one by one pieces we go on sacrificing. So we want to protect them, but we have to sacrifice. Without sacrifice, we won't progress. So the chess game is the sacrificing game. In the same way, life is a sacrificing game. It is a path of woe. It is not an easy law. There is much sacrifice. In fact, complete renunciation of self is absolutely necessary in order that all our vehicles render absolutely pure to receive the guiding power of Supreme. So, Annie Besant was so impersonal. All vehicles were so pure. Therefore, she got clairvoyance. She was receiving instructions from the masters directly. So, to receive the guiding power of Supreme, that is the law of woe that teaches that the great suffering of mankind is due to ignorance, and this causes man's great pain. If you remember, our theosophical leaders, see what they have done. They have done so many literary work. They have put us many books to read. They have made it very simple. Of course, secret doctrine and ISIS unveiled are, which are brought directly from the masters through H.P. Blavatsky. But that is made simple to all of us. Now it is our duty to read and try to understand. Then in 107 it says, alas, alas, that all men should possess alaya, be one with the great soul, and that possessing it alaya should so little avail them. Same thing I am explaining. We are told that each one of us is a ray of that alaya, a spark of divinity. We are all linked to the universal soul, that is alaya, also called oversoul. We are all linked to the universal soul that is called master soul or Atma. Each man says, what says HPB says, each man having a ray of it in him and being supposed to be able to identify himself with and to merge himself into it. That is HPB advises. So every animate and inanimate thing possesses a spark of this light which will one day in some future manvantra be fanned into flame making every man a god. Then indeed will there be a heaven on earth. To possess the seed of divinity within us and yet do nothing about it is what is being, it is not good. We have that divine seed within, it needs to be nurtured. Then it says, behold how like the moon reflected in the tranquil waves, Alaya is reflected by the small and by great, mirrored in the tiniest atoms, yet failed to reach the heart of all. Alas, that so few men should profit by the gift, the priceless boon of learning truth, the right perception of existing things, the knowledge of the non-existent. So Alaya, the universal soul, is the root and basis of all. It is invisible and incomprehensible to the human eye and even to the human intellect. It can reflect only its own reflection, not itself. The finite mind, we are told, cannot grasp the occult meaning of these mysteries. We must learn to still our thinking before we may know the incomprehensible. So, savichara to nirvichara. The moon, according to the secret doctrine, is the former guide for us. But anyway, this is what we can go ahead to the 109 now. Yes, 109. Remember, we are going to finish 125. We are in expressway learning. So, head learning and soul wisdom. 109 says, saith the pupil. Means pupil asks, O teacher, what shall I do to reach to wisdom? Oh, what to gain perfection? Then the teacher instructs, search for the paths, but O Lanu, be of clean heart before thou startest on thy journey. Before thou takest thy first step, learn to discern the real from the false, the ever fleeting from the everlasting. Learn above all to separate head learning from soul wisdom, the eye from the heart doctrine. E means yes. Ignorance is like unto a closed and airless vessel, and the soul is a bird set upon up within. It rebels not, means it sings not, nor can it stir a feather, but but songster mute, means just mute, and torpid sits, and of exhaustion dies. But even ignorance is better than head learning. This is many times we repeat. Ignorance is better than head learning with soul wisdom to illuminate and guide it. So these are the verses from 109 to 113. In this, one must notice that there is much repetition in the voice of the silence. So many things are repeated. Even in the first fragment, same thing is told in the second fragment, same thing again told in the third fragment, but it has got many layers of understanding. We are understanding step by step. In the beginning, we were not understanding any verses, but as we go on reading together, we go on understanding more and more. It becomes easy to understand. The voice of the silence is repeated purposely in order to impress a truth upon our mind. No occult progress is possible for man while he is extremely ignorant. So, remaining ignorant is not good. It is tamoguna. There has to be some rajoguna, tamoguna balance, then we sattva-guna. So in talks on the path of occultism, Annie Besant and C.W. Leadbeater, they go on to say that however much he may be developed in other ways, without knowledge of the path and without the knowledge of the truth, he will not move in a definite direction. So we must know the path and we must have a clear knowledge of that path. But Theosophy tells us of the great destiny is waiting for all of us. And so it is absolutely necessary that we put our knowledge into practice and kindle our fan, that inner flame. It is because, again, in the beginning I said, the first fragment is voice of the silence, where we said dharana, dhyana and samadhi. But that is the samadhi path, according to Yoga Sutra. But this is a path of, or we can say, this is the sadhana path. We must practice. In Patanjali specific sense, yoga is the magic wand. It is a process. Practice is necessary. It is a process by which we can change ourselves. That is to say, to get our lower vehicles under control so that they leave us free to proceed on the path. Again, Yoga Sutra says to be free from all modifications of the mind and make the mind still. So yoga is a system whereby perfect harmony is established between the lower and higher self. Then 112 says, yes, ignorance is like unto a closed and airless vessel, because we must go from the hall of ignorance to the wisdom, learning. Otherwise, ignorance is like a closed and airless vessel in which the soul, a bird set up within. It rabbles not, nor can it stir a feather, but the songster mute and torpid sits, and of exhaustion dies. So these are the three stages. It rabbles not, nor can it stir a feather, but the songster mute and torpid sits, and by exhaustion dies. If you read slowly, you get the meaning. It is not that much easy. It is a poetic language. So why it is said ignorance is a closed, airless vessel, and soul is a bird in that vessel. Same thing Krishnamurti also said. Whole humanity is caught in the prison of psyche, in his own psyche. And further, he did a statement: you do nothing, only you will retire to die. So here again, the bird which sits stupid, by exhaustion it dies. Same words Krishnamurti also used, but in different terms. They appeal to our inner consciousness. So what is needed to understand is, soul needs the pure air of spirit, the atmosphere of aspiration and of high thought in which it grows, because not to aspire to greater heights is to remain earthbound. Low aim is climb. But then it says in 113, but even ignorance is better than the head learning with no soul wisdom. Because if there is no soul wisdom and you are a Rajashik, then you are doing harm to the whole humanity. That is why it is said, ignorance is better than the head learning. Head learning alone is not enough for the pilgrim on the path. What Krishnamurti says at the feet of the master, of course, these are the master's word, the wisdom which enables you to help, the will which directs the wisdom, the love which inspires the will. These are your qualifications. Will, wisdom, and love are the three aspects of the Logos, and you who wish to enroll must learn this. See, will, wisdom, and love are our true nature of the soul. Soul is threefold. It has love, it has will, it has wisdom. The love is the source. And with love, we desire. And when we desire, our thoughts give force to it and we act. So always, will must inspire love, love inspires will, and will directs wisdom, and wisdom enables us to act properly. This is the next slide is divine map, Google map I have given. See, the divine Google maps never says you took the wrong turn. It never says you are wrong, but it simply says rerouting. Life works in the same way. As our soul is threefold, as I said, love inspires will directs wisdom, and wisdom enables us to act and not to react. So find your own path. That is what I want to say through this. And one more slide, heart learning. Yes. Heart can have independent thoughts, as it contains about 40,000 neurons that process information independent. And therefore, we are asked to meditate in the heart. And those impulses go through the neurons and reach to the mind. Then mind helps to act. The heart is more than a mechanical pump. It has its own intrinsic nervous system, which is made up of tens of thousands of neurons. And these neurons allow the heart to process information locally and communicate continuously with the brain. In fact, a large portion of neural signals travel from heart to the brain, and they are thus shaping our emotional responses, looking after our attention and decision-making process. This heart-brain dialogue helps to regulate our stress, intuition, and overall physiological balance. Understanding this of the connection highlights how emotions, cognition, and physical health are deeply interconnected rather than controlled by the brain alone. I have given this uh, PowerPoint projection because one must know the role of heart in our path. Then 114 to 118 verses will go. Again, very nice. The seed of wisdom cannot sprout and grow in airless space. To live and reap experience, the mind needs breadth and depth, and points to draw it towards the diamond soul. See the terms diamond soul, airless space, all these are important to ponder over. Seek not those points in Maya's realm, but soar beyond illusion. Search the eternal and the changeless Sat, mistrusting fancies, false suggestions. So don't trust the false suggestion. Seek not those points of Maya's realm. Then 115 says, for mind is like a mirror. It gathers dust while it reflects. It needs the gentle breezes of soul wisdom to brush away the dust of our illusions. Seek, O beginner, to blend thy mind and soul. Here again we are advised blending of heart and mind, synchronizing the heart and mind is the key to the spiritual path. Then in 116, shun ignorance, and likewise shun illusion. Avert thy face from world deceptions. Mistrust thy senses, they are false. Senses are false. Mistrust thy senses. But within thy body, the shrine of thy sensations, seek in the impersonal for the eternal man. And having sought him out, look inward, thou art Buddha. See, the way is given. Shun ignorance, likewise shun illusion. Avert thy face from world deception, mistrust thy senses, they are false. But within thy body, the shrine of thy sensations, seek in the impersonal for the eternal man, and having sought him out, look inward, thou art Buddha. Then in 117, shun praise, O devotee. When you become a devotee, still people will praise you. Shun praise, O devotee. Praise leads to self-delusion. Thy body is not self. Thy self is in itself without a body, and either praise or blame affects it not. Then in 118, self-gratulation, O disciple, is like unto a lofty tower. Again it is said, a lofty tower. Self-deception is rising to the lofty tower, up which a haughty fool has climbed. Thereon he sits in prideful solitude and unperceived by any but himself. So these are the instructions here given. I am interested to explain the diamond soul. That is the diamond soul, Vajrastav. It is very interesting to know about this diamond soul, because diamond soul in Sanskrit, Vajra, diamond is Vajra. Diamond soul is named as Vajrastav, is called as diamond soul. He is the Lord of all mysteries, supreme, unknowable Buddha. The hardest possible substance, spiritual diamond, that is adamantine. Also a ritual object symbolizing indestructibility. You see, the figure is given. This is the, they hold in hand. It is made up of the origin, the point in the center, which becomes a sphere and blossoms into the 5 wisdoms of the innate Dhyani Buddhas. It is reflected, as is the whole universe, as above, so below. Although masculine, it contains the lotus petals. Then in the next slide again, Om Vajrapani Hum. This also we must, this fragment ends with this mantra, Om Vajrapani Hum. Om Padmani Hum is also we know. This is a mantra, either Vajrapani Hum or either Padmapani, because lotus is also there. Meaning, this is a mantra and its meaning cannot be accurately translated. It is an invocation to Vajrapani. Who is Vajrapani? Wielder of the Vajra or diamond scepter, a mystical name of the true self, perhaps hailed to the true self, wielder of the diamond scepter. The usual name of the true self is Vajrastava, diamond being. But when he wields the diamond scepter, it is an indication of his kingship. In this aspect, he is Vajrapani and reflects the nature of the cosmic Buddha. Vajrastav is the archetype of the true self, diamond being innate within us, who cannot reveal himself until we are purified. In his own nature, he is described as hollow, transparent like crystal, because he is made of spiritual diamond. We cannot see him, but because, like us, his nature is formed of the basic great elements, different colored rays of light emanates and refract from him, so we can be very conscious of his presence. Then in 115, it says, "For mind is like a mirror, it gathers dust while it reflects." It is true, mind must be free from cluttered thinking. What is the nature of dust? Nature of dust is clutter, bad, negative thoughts, and he must be free from such all cluttered thinking if he want to receive spiritual guidance. HPB warns that the dust on the mirror involves the prejudices, illusions, and fancies which are in the astral and mental bodies. These, she says, are obstacles to our progress. And then in 16 it says, "Sen ignorance, likewise sen illusion, avert thy face from world deception, mistrust thy senses, they are false, but within thy body, the sign of thy sensation, seek in the impersonal for the eternal man, and having sought him out, look in world thou art Buddha." So to treat the path, we do not waste time on the trivialities or in mundane works, because they are made up of mass enjoyment. They are made for the mass enjoyment, but we must not get entangled in those worldly things. You know, time is very precious for the spiritual seeker. He should not waste the time. We all have our allotted time during an incarnation to do with the as we are free to work out bravely. That means we must work out our own karma very bravely in worldly things. Then 117 says, shun praise, O devotee. Praise leads to self-delusion. Thy body is not self. Thy self is in itself without a body, and either praise or blame affect it not. So it is so said because many get spoiled by undue praise that often leads to pride, and pride comes before you fall. So the personality must take a back seat if the disciple wishes to cultivate the inner man. To repeat as often as we can mentally one mantra that not my will, but his will is acting. In Marathi, we call Srinchi Icha, not my will. Then in 118, self-gratulation, O disciple, is like unto the lofty tower up which a haughty fool has climbed. Thereon he sits in prideful solitude and unperceived by any but by himself. This simile of a tower is indeed a good one here, because for pride does tend to set a man away from his fellow men. But one must not confuse this pride of isolation with the need for solitude, but to study and meditate. We cannot possibly go down into the crowded marketplace and teach others until we ourselves have acquired wisdom and gained control over ourselves. Then the last will finish, only few are there. Yeah. Sorry, 100 and false learning is rejected by the wise and scattered to the winds by the good law. Its wheel revolves. I think we can take it in the next time, because now its time is over. Because this is what we'll start with this in the next time. Vimalji, we'll stop here.
Okay, sir.
Because I thought we will finish this one, but giving more is also not good.
Okay.
We have to ponder over.
Yes, sir. If anybody has any questions or would like to speak, please unmute and
We need to be aware of time also. So that is why I finished. We'll continue next time, the next
Okay, sir.
119 onwards.
Okay, anybody? Otherwise, I will end. Sushma ji, would you like to give the closing prayer?
No.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your
Thank you, Sushma ji.
clear exposition. Asato ma sadgame, tamso ma jyotirgame, mrityorma amritam game. From the unreal leaders to the real, From darkness lead us to light. From death lead us to immortality. Sarve bhavantu sukhnah. Sarve santu niramaya. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kashid dukh bhag bhavet. Om Shanti. Shanti. Shanti.
Thank you so much,
Sushma, you
sir.
are not visible.
Yes, I am not visible. I am invisible.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for attending.
Thank you.